What do you think it is?
I don't know, but it isn't good.
I've had a lot of people ask me, why are we in this battle on this planet Earth right now? What is my involvement? What is your involvement? And why are there so many conspiracies, as well as very, very seriously and concerning, dangerous people and things happening on this planet? Why do we have war? Here is your answer.
I think we're looking at a world where, and this is in the next film I'm going to do, I'm going to try and tackle this question. That there are big realms, spiritual realms. There's good, there's evil, and they are slugging it out for the souls of mankind. And my question is, why are we even important? Little old flawed humanity. Why?
I share this clip with you because I've experienced this myself when I was writing my book 101 Answers from the Universe, which you can get on Amazon. There is a battle, a galactic battle between good and evil.
Why are we important in that process where the big realms are slugging it out over us? And I think there's bigger things at play here. And institutions that purport to touch on the divine are necessarily going to be affected by that slugfest that's going on between good and evil.
Right.
And
sometimes good gives up ground.
Yeah. And maybe not on purpose. You know, maybe there's some deception involved or self-deception.
Right. Co-opted.
Like every morning when I wake up, I actually pray that I don't deceive myself.
Understanding that this good and evil is at play and very strong and powerful right now can help you understand how you navigate the world.
Your mind is a very funny place. I mean, I've always said, you know, it's your second thought and your first action that you're responsible for. Your first thought, throw it away, you know.
Right. But upon consideration,
yeah.
Second thought is what you're responsible for.
Yeah.
Because good and evil, they don't have any pronouns. They don't have a religion. They don't have a philosophy, a belief system, an education. They don't have a gender. The energy is simply good and evil, yin and yang, and one cannot exist without the other. I know that sounds a bit perplexing, but you think about it. There would be no such thing as the feeling of wet unless you knew what it felt like to touch something that was dry. You wouldn't understand the physical biology, the feeling of being cold if you didn't understand what it was like to be comfortable or warm. You have to have the polarity of the opposite in order to understand its opposite. So we live in this world of duality and we live in this world of polarity. And so does the universe. It is, whether you believe in the Bible or not, I'm not a big Bible thumper. Sadly, because I was born and raised Roman Catholic and quite disillusioned with it. And I feel that we judge each other. We all judge each other based on this duality. Every single large institution has the ability to misrepresent themselves and take advantage of their power. And as you know, they all have in one way or the other. Understanding that this good and evil is at play and very strong and powerful right now can help you understand how you navigate the world. Are you a perfect being if you are only good? And what determines what that good is? Is it good for you? Is it good for society? Is it good for the people around you? As primal mammals, humans, to be in a state of constant survival and wanting to protect ourselves from death, down to the smallest molecule, for instance, a cancer cell. It wants to survive too. It wants to grow. It wants to expand. It wants to take over. Are cancer cells healthy? Absolutely not. The other healthy cells do not want it to survive. So what happens within the biology of cancer cells or destructive cells and healthy cells, they start fighting with each other. The healthy cells start fighting to kill off the cancer cells. And at some point they become dormant, which means they have no more fight. There's not enough of them to fight against the healthy cells. That's a dormant, but they're still alive. Okay, so you want to keep the healthy cells continuously healthy. So eventually the dormant cells they die. They die off because they're not surviving anymore. This happens in our brain. Negative thinking and negative thoughts and these neurological synapses or neurons want to survive.
Your mind is a very funny place. I've always said, it's your second thought and your first action that you're responsible for. Your first thought, throw it away.
No matter how negative they are and destructive they are, the more that we instill positivity, and it's individual, it's very subjective. We live in a very objective world. Therefore, we think it's objective. We think that outside sources are going to create these healthy thoughts or this healthy living. There is a combination. We cannot deny the polarity of the subjective and the objective. But we do want to understand that it is in our own power to determine what that is and what works for us individually. What does this have to do with my career and my job and working with thousands and thousands of people throughout the last decade and more, and astrology, philosophy, psychology, neurolinguistic programming, my clairvoyance, my remote viewing? For me to help my clients, I have to help them, guide them, leave space for them to understand why they've had the experiences that they had, what is their personal integration with those experiences, and why they are the best integration ever. And it's not the same as your mother's or your father's or your sister's or your brother-in-law's. And it's not supposed to be. And how you can utilize that to make the best decisions and best choices for you in your own life. Recently, actually, was on that podcast, Joe Rogan with Mel Gibson, where he was talking about his drug addiction and alcohol addiction. And all of us have addictions. You listen to Gabor Mate, everyone has an addiction. And most of those addictions are there to help you survive and navigate through some very difficult times that you may have had throughout your life. So they're healthy. But when they become unhealthy is when they take over. The bad habits take over and they start killing off all of the good habits that you have. What Mel Gibson said, it's egotistical. He gave, he did the 12 steps, and 12 steps was very big on giving yourself up to God, giving yourself up to faith or destiny, and not be in control. Realize you're not in control, that there's a bigger power in control here. And he's absolutely right to a degree. We are not in control, and we do want to give up to our higher faith. But as he mentioned too, is that it's the ego. The ego wants us happy. The ego wants us to be in a better relationship with our father and our mother. The ego is self-serving, and it wants us to find happiness. It's hard to navigate that because that is sheer survival. But unless it is representing the collective as well, you will continuously be dissatisfied. Because the collective cannot make you happy, and you cannot make the collective happy. It's an inside job. That evil is not good or bad. Good is not good or bad. You're probably wondering, who's going to win, Holly? Neither of them are going to win. There's no winner. There cannot be a winner. There can only be balance. And does that mean that we have to have war and human trafficking and control of government and poverty in the world? No, that's not in balance, is it? But as the Buddhist religion, or not a religion, belief system follows, there is suffering, and suffering exists. But your perspective of that suffering, that's your job. Namaste.